Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Nigel Monet, and today's video is going to be on sickle cell disease. So what is sickle cell? Sickle cell is a group of disorders that cause red blood cells to become misshapen and break down. On the tips of these misshapen blood cells, they form obviously a sickle shape, hence the name sickle cell. And at the tips of the sickle shaped blood cell, it's kind of split like a snake's tongue. That's the best way that I could explain it. So what ends up happening is the sickle shaped blood cell goes through a normal shaped blood cell, and that shit hurts. What I'm sorry, with sickle cell disease, red blood cells contort into the sickle shape, and then these cells ultimately die early, leaving a shortage of healthy red blood cells. So this is known as sickle cell anemia, and a lot of sicklers do actually struggle with anemia on top of already struggling with their blood condition as well. And these blood cells can block blood flow, causing pain, which is what I was hinting to earlier or alluding to earlier, the crisis. And again, these things hurt. They hurt bad. I'm actually just coming out of a crisis, and this is kind of what triggered me making this video and me making awareness or spreading awareness on the disease itself, because as common as it is within the African American community, not a lot of people know it and not a lot of people understand it. So that's the point in me, obviously, like I said, making this video to help you guys understand the disease a little bit better. This disease is a disease that's more common in the African American community, especially at least in the United States compared to other ethnicities. But some of the other ethnicities that are also affected include the Hispanics, South Asians, Caucasians, Europeans, Middle Easterners, among others. Managing sickle cell, to me anyway, is very easy. However, I will be honest and say that I have a bit of an unfair advantage because of the fact that my last job, or my last, field that I chose to work in was the medical field. So I have a different understanding, not just of this disease, but of chronic pain in general. So I know what to do in order to keep myself feeling, fine, normal. Or as normal as possible anyway. Not to say that those who are infected with sickle cell are in some way, shape, or form abnormal. But we can't do things like in the summertime, just go run and jump in a body of water because we want to cool down. Because that jump can ultimately lead to, obviously, a pain crisis or something else, something worse. Being that we have a shortage of red blood cells, they say that life expectancy is shortened. However, I've never received that message. Like, I've never been told by my medical team, or even my parents even have never been told when I was a child that I'm only going to live to see X age. You get what I'm saying? My dad did actually receive that message from his doctors as a child. We both are the same type of sickle cell, which is going to be what I get into next, the different types. But his is a little bit worse off than mine in the sense that he is definitely hospitalized more often. He has more crises and things of that nature. Again, I do say that I have an upper advantage, the upper hand, because of the fact that I've worked in the medical field. So I've researched, like for school projects, sickle cell, so I could get a better understanding of it for both myself and my father. And those around me who just want to understand the disease a little bit more. Some of the other things that are commonly done to help include folic acid. We have to take folic acid every day. Obviously different strokes for different folks. My current dosage is 2 milligrams. Some people take iron pills. This is for those that are anemic. All of us should be taking hydroxyurea, but I personally noticed that once I stopped hydroxy, the number of crises that I had declined. I was from every like 3 months or so to whenever it decides to rear its ugly head. Honestly, I don't even have a time frame right now. This is the first crisis that I've had since my pregnancy. My daughter's one. So maybe in about 2 years now. And the last one literally was brought on because of the fact that I was in labor. You know, my body was going through changes and my body didn't know how to react. So it did what it does best and kind of just started hurting everywhere. So yeah, labor and delivery is fun. Other than that, though, we do also have to keep hydrated. This is why it's so important. For those of you who may have it, this is why your doctors say this is why you need to drink water. And then even when I am not drinking water, I drink water-based products. So like I take a lot of tea. I'll make fruit smoothies. I eat things like beets because that helps with your blood. It helps to rejuvenate blood cells, and it helps. It helps. I eat broccoli because I don't want to take too many pills. So I'm sorry, not broccoli. What is it called? Like spinach and kale. So when I do my salads, I do kale, and then spinach I do on stovetop. And reason being is because these things help with iron. So I've noticed that since I have worked these into my diet, I have needed to cover up less. I'm able to now comfortably wear shorts whenever I feel like it. I am able to, as you can see, wear my short sleeve shirts, and I don't need my hoodie. I don't need a blanket or anything to throw over me because my body temperature kind of is like at a level. And yeah, so these are some of the things that we have to do and that we have to take again on a daily basis. And then obviously in pain crisis, these things are managed with narcotics for most people. Some of the narcotics that are prescribed include, but are not limited to, Dilaudid, Percocet, oxycodone, I think it's called. I might be pronouncing it wrong. Methadone, like they go hard. And actually, due to this, a lot of sicklers end up getting hooked on their prescripted drugs because it's better, obviously, than waking up on a daily basis and hurting. This is not my case. I hurt when I'm in crisis and I don't when I'm not, but it is the case for a lot of other people. For me personally, I do not manage my pain with narcotics. Reason being is because I personally struggled with taking the narcotics a few years back, and I kind of like cold turkey weaned myself off of them shits. So I've decided that for me, it's just healthier to just like stay away. And if I do get narcotics, it's literally in the hospital, and then I wean myself off the second that I'm discharged. Like, ooh, almost choked. But there are some days in terms of hospitalization stays anyway, where like I might have them give me a dose an hour or so before I get discharged, like to hold me over. But a lot of times I just have them hurry up with my discharge papers. In the hospital, being that it hurts, it's hard like to get up and like walk around, and the doctors are very understanding. But in my to me, basically, it feels like they're more understanding than they should be in these situations. What they do is they'll bring you I don't know what they're called, but I call them leg massagers. So anyone who's ever been in a hospital, if you've ever had children, even, these are things that the doctors bring to you. You kind of like just wrap them around your legs, and then there's a button that they, or a machine that they put on the end of your bed, and you push the button on the machine and it just like massages your legs. So that just keeps your blood pumping and flowing the right way. So that you're not in the bed, you're not laying down all day, and your blood isn't clotting. Because obviously, when you're sitting down and you keep your legs elevated up like this all day, in a laying position, it's gonna be easier for, let's just say, a bunch of blood to pool together in the back of your leg. And we all know that blood clots do ultimately lead to worsening, not symptoms, but like diseases. So you end up developing like heart disease, you can have a stroke, you can have a blood clot travel to your brain, and you have a, you end up with a brain tumor or something like that. Like, yeah, so I, they'll do that, or they will do the injections for like Lovenox or something, which is basically just a blood thinner to keep your blood running also smoothly. Me personally, I like massages, so I ask for the little leg massages when I'm in like the hospital. But I also don't turn down like my blood thinners ever, because I understand, the importance of it. I understand why it is that the nurses and the doctors put these, or give you these things, and why they put these things inside of your medicine chart. And I understand the effects of them and the effects of not taking them. And I understand that the effects of not taking them are more grave than the ones that you get when you do take them. So that's that. And then obviously with narcotics, you get things like constipation. So we have to take like Senna, we have to take like Miralax, like you name it, they're trying to make you go to the bathroom. These I turn down instantly. And then also at home, they do encourage you obviously to try things like Motrin and like Tylenol. A lot of sicklers do say that like the 800 milligram Motrins work best for them. Those just don't do shit for me. So stop telling people that they do things, because those actually can give you stomach ulcers. But that's another like video for another day. However, like I said, I personally don't do the Tylenol and like the Motrin and things like that, because these do also have serious health side effects as well. So I'll either just bang it out, or I'm very 420 friendly. So for those of you who know what that means, you know what I mean. That's mainly how I manage my crisis. So to get into the types of sickle cell disease that you have sickle cell SS, which is the worst. And these are those patients that they look sick. They look sick, like they're really skinny. They have jaundiced eyes. Some of them even have like jaundiced skin. They're constantly in and out of the hospital. And you can, like I said, just look at these people and you can tell that there's something wrong with them. Then you have those who have SC. A lot of the SC patients do actually have the same traits that I just mentioned, physical traits that SS patients have. However, I don't, because I take care of myself differently. So again, I didn't allow myself like to get hooked on like the medications, or actually I did, but I stopped them. So I kind of like started gaining my weight back and stuff like that. But there was a point where I was like between 125 to 130. And I'm pretty sure it's because like the narcotics were eating away at me on the inside. And then yeah, once I stopped, I just gained all my weight back. But again, another story for another day. Then you have sickle cell CC, which basically is equivalent to like the sickle cell trait. And these patients don't necessarily have a lot of crises or any at all. they may experience pain. This is my daughter. They may experience pain every now and again. But it might be more so like, say if somebody has like arthritis and they're like, oh, strain this and my knee hurts. I have a little sister who has CC, and I'm saying that in terms of like, oh, it's raining today, my knee hurts, because she's had problems with her knee pretty much all of her life. But I don't know if it's in relation to the sickle cell or not. I just always kind of thought that it was. But if not, then, you know, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not a human body, so I don't know exactly all of the specifics. Okay. So that's that. And then the sickle hemoglobin O and sickle hemoglobin D. Again, I have maybe only met one person who has sickle cell thalassemia. These are the traits that are more so common for those who are who are sickle cell thalassemia versus sickle cell anemia. And so I don't know a lot of the physical properties and other attributes that go along with sickle cell thalassemia. I do, however, know that they have less pain crises than maybe a SC patient or a SS patient would. I also know that they struggle more so with their anemia, which is weird. But again, I've never actually gone ahead and researched the thalassemia end of it, because it was nothing that affected me personally. So that's the different types of sickle cell. So in terms of triggers, before I get started on any triggers, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that these triggers are mainly what I had noticed have triggered my own personal crises. The list is definitely broad when it comes to triggering a pain crisis. So yeah, here we go. So some of the common triggers include stress. For me personally, I've noticed that when I'm under heavy bouts of stress, I might get sick more often, or even at all. You get what I'm saying? Being that my crises don't occur on some type of a monthly or on a timely regimen. Also overexertion of the body. So like when I was working retail jobs was the worst. That was the worst period in my life, because I was always like on my feet. Before then, my crises were mainly like in my arms. I had never really had pain in my legs before working retail anyway. I maybe had like one or two when I was younger. There's one that I remember really vividly. I remember being in the hospital, and I remember my mom having like the Billy Blanks crunches contraption, I think. I don't know what to call that thing, but it was something like, it had like a little pillow and whatever, and it had the rails, the side rails for you to help pull yourself up. And I remember coming home after discharge and putting my leg up on the top of her, or up, it had like a little bar. I remember putting my leg up on the top of the bar to show her I was able to move my leg regularly, like how I was before. But yeah, walking, running, like I'm not gonna say I don't go to the gym like at all. I cannot overexert myself physically because it causes me to sweat, and then the sweat, then you know, I'm losing water. Obviously, that's perspiration. You get what I'm saying? And if I perspire a lot, I end up in a crisis like 9 times out of 10 that same night. I mentioned something about like we can't go and jump inside of a body of water because we want to cool down in the summer, which is true. But I said that to say I can't really go from one extreme to the next. So say if it's a 95-degree summer day and I'm at the beach and the water temperature is at like 65, I definitely have to ease my way into the water. Like I would start with just wading my feet a little bit, then walk in and let it get up to my knees, then walk up and let it get up to my thighs until obviously I'm submerged, like underneath the water, and my body feels normal within the water, because otherwise if I were to just run in there, crisis. Even there was one time my cousin and I, we were playing like pranks on each other. It was maybe a full year of us just pranking each other. And I remember I tried to do something like wet him up. He was taking a nap. I filled a water pitcher. Like, I was super duper young and clumsy, and so he heard everything. Like, he heard me grab the pitcher, heard me turn on the water, he heard the water running, he heard me filling up the thing, and like he stayed there and he stayed asleep, or so I thought anyway. And I got close to him and tried to wet him, and just as I poured it over, he like had popped up. And so shortly after that, he chased me around the house a little bit, and then it was a truce, but it wasn't really a truce on his end. But I fell for it. So I went ahead, I got in the shower, and he did the same thing. Now, being that I'm in the shower, I couldn't hear him running the water in the kitchen and stuff like that. Otherwise, I would have been like, hey, we're going to have to wait until I get out. And then, we pick our games back up. But I couldn't hear him because my shower water was running as well as the kitchen water was running and whatever. And he went and he filled up like the biggest pot that he could find. I listened to music when I showered, so I didn't hear any of the pots banging and clanging. And he like just tossed the water over the shower rod, the shower curtain, and it hit me. And I felt instantly like the cells changing. Like I curled up on the floor inside the shower and everything. I had to go to the hospital within an hour. I was in there, and I was in the hospital for about maybe 2 to 3 weeks at that time. Just a quick story. So like I said, one extreme to the next, or even if it's just the seasons, like the hardest seasons for me to transition into are summer and winter because of how extreme the heat and the cold is. It's important for me to say that you don't just get crisis from being really, really, really cold. They can happen as well when you're hot. And I personally, though I am not a summer child in the sense of that's when I was born, like I'm a winter baby, but I love the summer. Like, I like to be outside. I like the atmosphere in the summertime. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so the clubbing is different in the summer. There's more attractions in the summer, like more bars are open and things like that, which is another trigger, drinking. But, as a young person, you want to do what young people do. So I still would even like go out. For me, I noticed maybe not light, but dark is better for me. But that's just my body. That's not going to be the preference for all sicklers or people who drink or whatever the case may be, but whatever. Yeah, that's, like I said, also another trigger. Drinking is also another trigger. Yeah, I think that's just about it. That's my triggers. And then there's obviously like things that's going on in your body. Say you catch a head cold. A head cold could turn into a crisis in the blink of an eye. So we're like in the wintertime, we have to keep all of the things on us: the hat, the scarf, the glove, the leggings, the thermal sets, like the long john sets, the pants and the shirts. We have to stay warm. If I'm out and about in the wintertime, I have on at least like 5 to 6 layers on my top and like 3 to 4 on the bottom, because my legs are thick, so I don't really need that much help heat my thighs up. Feel me? But and I do still need the extra layering still. So that's a little bit of triggers. And yeah. Now we're going to get into a little bit of what you can do to help those who you may know who have sickle cell. So my information may best apply if you live with a patient or a person, I should say, who is affected by sickle cell. But if not, and you just know someone, then I guess it's just good information like to have on hand. And if you want to go and help that person in a time of need, then you'll know what to do. It'll be a little bit better. So To start, in terms of things that you should have in-house, definitely Epsom salt, because hot baths are a must, like especially in a time of pain. There's times when I'll wake up and my body's just like achy, and I go take like a hot bath and I get out and I don't have any more pain for the rest of the day. A hot bath and Epsom salt. You may need like heating pads or heated blankets. The heated blanket you could go buy from like Target or Walmart. Heating pads you can buy from literally anywhere: Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Walmart. Any of these stores. You can probably order one off of Amazon. The one that I have two. I have a regular heating pad, which is just heat applied. And then I have a weighted heating pad that actually massages as well, which I feel like that works best for me. Because like I explained to you guys in the beginning, it's better, especially if I'm dealing with a crisis, because it can help with your blood flow as well. Water. In my house, we have 3 gallons of water in 3 cases, and I have a spare case inside of my father's car, and he lives about 10 minutes away from me. And the reason why is because, first of all, I drink water like a fish. Like, I'm always drinking water. And then second of all, I noticed that when you keep yourself hydrated, it helps your blood better, and it helps your blood flow a little bit better. And so that eliminates like a whole lot of crises that you may or may not have. So drinking water is definitely important. I don't know if you guys do things like the turmeric teas, or if you order, what is it called, the sea moss or anything like that, but I kind of started incorporating that as well into my diet. And they've helped tremendously as well. The turmeric helps with things like discoloration. So if you battle jaundice a lot, maybe take turmeric tea, and that might, I guess, help you. I'm not even going to get into all of the properties in terms of the sea moss. I do, however, know that once I started drinking sea moss and like mixing it into my fruit smoothies and things like that, that's when I started noticing significant changes within the frequency of crises that I was having. I also take something called Devil's Claw, and I take that mainly, say if I notice that I'm waking up 2 or 3 days in a row with like achy body feeling, I'll take the Devil's Claw. You can get that from say maybe a GNC. It's more of a vitamin than anything else. And yeah, like I take the pill, and I'll take it maybe for 2 or 3 days, twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. And then I notice that I don't feel anything anymore. So yeah, and then beets, you're gonna definitely, especially in the winter months, stay stocked up on beets, because they help your blood as well. You want to stock up on foods that are high in iron. So spinach, kale, there's orange juice that has iron in it, and like vitamin C and stuff like that. Fruits that work best for me are like bananas, an apple a day. Y'all know how that go. An apple a day. Oranges, I love me some pineapple. Strawberries are my favorite. Things like that. Just try to have and maintain a balanced and healthy diet. Definitely keep water handy. Keep water bottles handy. There's water bottles that like you can put ice inside, and the ice will stay frozen for days and days on end. So if you have maybe $15 to $20 to invest inside of a water bottle, go ahead and invest in one of those, because they work. They work. Yeah. And then ultimately, guys, and this just goes without saying, it's not even in terms of knowing people with sickle cell, it's just people in general. You don't want to be a stressor. So definitely you want to be their peace. Don't be the reason why they're upset. Don't constantly upset them, constantly question them. You have to be very understanding. Just as you would want them to be if you were, you know, in a situation, because while it might not be something that's important to you, or while it might not be something that's relatable to you, it's a person that, you know, means something to you, right? So you have to take the things that they are feeling and things like that into consideration, because you just dashing away someone's feelings could be the result of a crisis, because now they're feeling like, you know, no one understands them, no one gets them, no one cares about them, and this, that, and the third, and then all of these other negative self-thoughts. And it's just, it's bad, not just for their physical health, but for their mental health as well. Because again, it's a disease, first of all, that's rare, so it's not understood as good as, say, like cancer. So yeah, that's that on that. That's that on that. And then on a back end, if you wanted to support the sickle cell community, give me a second, guys, because I actually have to look it up. You can support the National Sickle Cell Association at sicklecelldisease.org. Again, that is sicklecelldisease.org. They have somewhere where if you wanted to go in and make maybe a donation, you can go ahead and donate to support the sickle cell community. Or if not, if you wanted to do something that's a little bit more I guess special to you, you can definitely support my small retail or personal brand, as well as my brand for business coaching. As I did mention in the beginning of the video, it is harder for me as a sickle cell patient to hold down jobs, so I take my businesses very serious. And for the month of September, I am donating 10% of all sales made to the Sickle Cell Foundation the second that the sale actually comes in, so that, you know, I can also help the community of people who are like me. And, you know, ultimately spread awareness about something that the world, to be quite honest, just straight up and down doesn't understand. And that's okay. Everything is not for everybody to understand, but if you have the right information, and you can get it across and convey that information in a way that is helpful and that is, I'm gonna make up a word, graspable to your audience, then go ahead and, you know, spread that information. That was my point in making this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. So I will drop both my links and the links to the Sickle Cell Association of America in the video description. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. Have a great day.